West. It's Duke Sims, the Don. I'm waiting on my player partner, Yael, man. He should be up in here shortly, man. You know what I'm saying? Salute to everybody that's on Clubhouse who made it. Y'all can follow us on Twitch. That's the link right there on Twitch at Active Chucks. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that y'all hit that like button on the way in. Share, tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? Damn, Deuce, when you go live, it's going to be 2 a.m. my way. Where you at, man? 2 a.m.? Damn, you got to be in Africa somewhere or something. You know what I'm saying? You got to be something, I don't know, Australia or something. Austria. Let's see. Let's get it 004. Another flame session. We got the content. I guess they figured that part out. We got Yael. Hold on. Let's get this right before we get into a scrap up on. This is how we gonna do it. We gonna make it official like a gangbanger with a pistol, right?
Oh, I like that analogy. I like that.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna make it official like a gangbanger with a pistol, and we're gonna go ahead and go to sections, explicit. You know what I'm saying? Where you could go like this, and then if Yael can't hear it, then he's just deaf. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be moving on. Let's go. Let's see if you can hear this. Yeah, what I rap, what I led. Yeah, hit that like button, man. Come up in here. Welcome to the Damu Kiwe Conversations, man. Yael, let them know where they at, man.
Man, listen. Deuce M's the Don and held it down to the Kiwe pop star. It came around. Hey, listen, if y'all on Clubhouse right now, make sure you share the room 3 times so in the hallway we can get that shine. Salute to everybody in the goose. Salute to you too. Salute to everybody on stage. And salute to the mods that's always on their job, man. We are on Clubhouse, one of the hottest clubhouses on Clubhouse. Make sure you share it 3 times so in the hallway we can get that shine. And if you're on YouTube live with us right now, salute to the chat. Y'all already know that's where it's at. Salute to the Blue Wrench mob that's always on their job. And if you're a friend that tapped in because of a friend, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Coming into the content, make sure you do that. Share this up, man. The internet needs to see this. The algorithm needs to be algorithming. And y'all need to be making sure y'all are interacting. Your Chucks, if they ain't acting, if they ain't active or bracking or cracking, go ahead and sit back and pack them. Hey, look, man, we got Deuce M's, the Don, and Yael, the Kiwe pop star, bringing y'all the hottest content, the voices of the culture, and the West Coast with the most authentic receipts. Damu Kiwe Conversations.
Oh, man, everybody has been talking about how big this whole Stutterbox, CS2 back, Main Street, Shaquille O'Neal, Tupac murder case. I'm talking about we dug down a rabbit hole, and now the internet then got hold of it. We'll get into that. But first, the Damu and Kiwe Conversation will be reacting to Tasha K on ADAM22 going broke.
Ah, shit.
WACK100. So she had a lot to say. And Poetic Flacco broke it down, right?
Okay.
So we gonna get into that, but we want to let the people get in here. Gigante Cobbin, salute. Kid the Barber, salute. Y'all get them likes up. Y'all
salute.
Can just sit here. Hey, listen, I'll sit back and just go through the chat. You know what I'm saying?
Deuce, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Is this a Damu Kiwe conversation?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a Damu Kiwe conversation.
Hey, salute to my nigga G-Mac. I seen something on the reel. Did you get that content?
No.
It was something about some OG Paru got DP for hanging with WACK100.
Yeah, no, I was talking about G-Mac.
Okay.
But he didn't actually, you know, it'd be clickbait. He didn't actually get DP. He was summoned for the DP, but because he had the courage to and the heart and within his heart to make sure whatever it took, whether they chipped him, beat him up, jumped him, gave him head up phase, he went to go get it right. So they said, you know what? Just don't let us catch you with that nigga. Don't go back to that nigga no more, bro. And I respect that, homie.
Right.
Just like they did. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these dudes run from that.
Right. And the reason why I brought that up is because G-Mac gave his expounding on everything, but he understood where his homies was coming from the wrong variation. You know, because CS2 back, WACK100 is a rat, in fact. And it's all thanks to Deuce M's and Don. It's all thanks to the hard work, you know, we put into making these documentaries, and him and Scanless and, you know, A Dose of Reality, and everybody coming together to make documentaries. It's a lot of work to be put into this, and these brothers are always working to do what's right and give you guys the right information. So
man,
first,
Scanless don't be working, man. Don't be giving that nigga no credit on our show,
man.
Scanless been bucking the plantation, man.
That don't now, Deuce, you can't now. We got to be right with the peoples, you know. But nah, we like on some real shit. Like the facts are in, man, and the stats is in. You know, real is rare, but we ain't scared. You know, and salute to G-Mac for pulling up to where he, you know, pulled up to handle his issue. And the only reason I brought that up is because it's a lot of cats out here, young, old, however you, whatever age demographic you from or in. When you wrong, handle that. Go holler at your homies that really stand on business. Don't holler at the ones that's compromised, because it goes to show you G-Mac in the Paquamas is not compromised. Okay? G-Mac in the Paquamas is not compromised, bro. He went over there and hollered at his homies because they don't want him hanging with snitches. They don't want his name to be bad. And that's real brotherly love. Just like I don't want some of my homies to be bad, but niggas want to compromise or go hang with the rats with the bag instead of getting it right with their homies, the ones that's locked up. That's not what you call righteous love and righteous judgment. So I just want to say salute to the real ones, whether you from Paquama, LA, 60, Brims, Hoover, Gangsters, Tanners, the Village, wherever you from, and you standing on business and you gonna make it right regardless. Salute to you, man. Because real niggas ain't hanging with no motherfucking rats. Not in the Damu Kiwe Conversations.
Y'all done got Yael started cooking. I can't wait till we get to the last video. But let's start off like with the Tasha K video. You got hold on. G-Mac says salute to my bro. Let's get it right with the Tasha K video and boom, and Poetic Flacco. It ain't that long. Let's go.
Today, reacting to the video that Adam put out there titled "No Jumper is Going Broke." Now, while reacting to this video, Tasha K actually revealed she spoke to LAPD about No Jumper. Now, what LAPD told her as an employee of No Jumper is very concerning to me. This is very bad. This is the video that Tasha K saw that made her want to inquire and contact LAPD about No Jumper.
So there's something that I've been hiding from you guys. No Jumper is going broke. I know that might sound crazy. Between both of our YouTube channels last month, we got over 25 million views. We're doing well on Facebook and Snapchat. We employ quite a few of the hottest content creators on the West Coast, and we pump out an insane amount of content on a weekly basis. How could we be going broke? Well, let's start here. We expanded too much during COVID at just about the exact moment that our revenue streams all took a hit.
Her initial suspicion surrounding No Jumper and surrounding this video is she's not buying the fact that No Jumper is going broke. She believes that that's impossible. She believes that this is a long-term play or something more sinister behind the scenes that we are not revealing.
You saying you broke being white, and the fact that you're able to go out and get a $4 million studio, black businesses don't even get approved for that type of loans.
Tasha K, burn they ass up. You being white, talking about you broke after you got a $4 million loan for a building for podcasts. Black people can't get them kind of loans for a building for their home. Let's get back to it.
It just, I don't know. It feels like you've got an asset on your hands and you're trying to move these assets because you got a lot of lawsuits underway, okay? And
because you got a lot of lawsuits underway. So you're trying to move all of these assets and protect them. He's pulling a Donald J. Trump right before our eyes. He knows that Big U and them will be suing his ass. Let's go, man.
And you know, it takes money to keep money. Okay. And so here's the thing. So I called up a little friend of mine that happens to work in, you know, the PD's office, LAPD. And apparently Adam is not telling the whole story. Now,
when I first heard this, I almost picked up the phone and called Tasha K, bro. Like, Auntie, tell me what's up, bro. Tell me what I don't know, bro. Because what is Adam hiding from us, man? Because hold on now, bro. LAPD is giving you information. So, again, if this is true, this is very bad. But Adam is maintaining the fact that this was an announcement to announce that No Jumper is having money issues and you know, he needed fans to step up more. Has nothing to do with nothing criminal. Now, Tasha K will say that No Jumper in their pivot to gang content is coming back to bite him.
Now, he is more than welcome to come on the platform and address it. You know, I just kind of felt like I wasn't going to get the entire truth because it's got to do with a lot of that RICO stuff that's going on with Big U and WACK100 and all those guys. And so apparently he went from doing like, I guess just regular underground rapper content to now it's content to a night street beef. And then they come and talk on the platform about street beef. And then they carry out the street beef and then they use it to, you know, send shots at each other, sort of like what Vlad was doing for a while and then he stopped. You know what I'm saying? Because he was getting, you know, he was being called a fed and everything like that.
She is going in, nigga. She likening both of these white men to doing the exact same thing, throwing flames on the fire of beef, and then snitching, trying to get people locked up. This is nasty work, bro. I thought I was the only one that seen it this way. I guess I ain't that biased. So let's
because
go.
they were asking to use his footage, even though he says he never gave them any footage. Okay, whatever. So that's what his platform evolved into, especially when he had linked with WACK100. Okay.
It's at this point in the video I begin to sit back like,
Dave's Hot Chicken. This is a public service announcement. I don't know what y'all was thinking when y'all took those cauliflower.
Tasha K is one of the smartest, most savviest people when it comes to the media. So now this is my theory, okay? Tasha K could either be telling the truth. She contacted LAPD. LAPD told her these things. Or Tasha K realizes what's currently going on with the climate of No Jumper. Tasha K has a beef with WACK100. She despises WACK100, and they're in a really heated feud right now. It's very bad. Tasha K can essentially say, okay, I'm going to utilize information to go against WACK100. I'm going to utilize information to try to get Adam to separate himself from WACK100 by sort of letting him know that LAPD is telling me that you doing content with WACK100 and these other gangbangers is going to get you in some serious trouble.
And WACK100 claims that he's, I guess, some type of set pyro. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't really live that lifestyle. I've never dealt with people that live that lifestyle. But here's what I'm being told is that Adam gotta go. And the platform has gotta go because the thing about it is, it's like, you know, it's caused so many disruptions in the community with them using his platform to ignite beef. And then they talk about the beef and then they send shots. They're going to be queuing all of that content to use to build a case on these people that they just recently arrested, Big U and all those people. And so in order for him to not be labeled a snitch, even though his content snitches and they were snitching on themselves, it's better to just kind of pack up and move out of Dodge.
So instead of being called a snitch, like you because you snitching on everybody in this Big U case and all of this shit where they're bringing these people on here to implicate them in crimes that he didn't do, lie, right? That he's still not even charged for. And now he moved all and liquidate all of his assets and he's claiming he's broke because now when you seek relief and Big U files a lawsuit, now they just filed bankruptcy for No Jumper and keep moving forward. This some nasty work, bro. But this is how these people move. It's how the devil moves.
Listen. Now, Tasha K is a very savvy media personality, does auntie. So maybe she's just utilizing information that Adam already put out there to go against WACK. Because Adam did put out there that he's selling the current No Jumper facility is up for sale, and they're moving the location. So maybe Tasha K is just using that information to take a wild guess and frame it as LAPD told her. Because let's just say this. Adam sells the building and he moves out of Los Angeles County. Let's just say he moves the office an hour away. Would that really help things in terms of law enforcement? Because maybe LAPD is saying, hey, bro, y'all got to go. Y'all got to leave Los Angeles County, bro, and take that malarkey to another county. Maybe, but this is like a federal investigation. And I don't feel like if the feds were on No Jumper, or if the feds needed certain things from No Jumper, or they were trying to squeeze No Jumper for information and footage, that wouldn't stop that. But now listen, I don't know if this is true or not, right? As far as I know, Adam hasn't told us anything about this. I haven't gotten any word regarding LAPD. LAPD hasn't been to the office to bother us. However, I can see when footage like the Luce Cannon and Jay Reed footage begin to surface online. Now, the footage, if you guys haven't watched it yet, Luce Cannon and Jay Reed got into an altercation outside of No Jumper that led to Jay Reed and the person that he was with getting stripped butt naked, getting pistol whipped, getting beat up, getting robbed. So, and that footage began to circulate all across social media. Now, the interesting thing, and to this day,
ooh, I don't think they take that here.
Of course they take Discover. It's stuck in the past.
To this day, I always have the same question. If a footage like that is public, with millions of views and multiple podcasts is talking about it, how come the police never got involved?
Question. I wouldn't be qualified to answer.
How come the police watched a man get pistol whipped on camera by a man who's in a federal RICO indictment right now, but the police never got involved? To me, that's the scariest part, right? To me, that is the scariest part. That's the part that really gets me and that really terrifies me. Because, man, until you know what the feds is up to, you don't know what they up to. Right now, nobody has been charged with that robbery outside of No Jumper. So what are they waiting on? What are they still investigating? Who do they have wiretap? Who do they have under surveillance?
Hey, real quick, let me stop this real quick, y'all. Tank TV said, Deuce, I was locked up with you at CDC. Oh, you was locked up with me at CDC talking about San Bernardino County. So you were in the feds, basically. Oh, no, because you could have been in the state and met me. Put down there what's your real name is, not your government name, your nickname, what I know you by, brother. You can DM me at Active Chucks on IG.
All these are questions that I don't know the answer to.
So this is what I'm being told by a very credible source that does work for the PD, and they want they want their streets cleaned up out there, and his podcast location is a problem. You saw Vlad got real quiet. I don't know. It ain't my business, so I'm just relaying a message, okay? Hold on for a second. Hold on. Okay. I'm not gonna say he's a DJ Vlad. That's not what I'm gonna say. What I'm gonna say is that when you're using your platform was used to bring up and coming rappers and people that wanted to break in the industry. How did it turn into street beef? Like, how did it flip? Why do you have WACK100 on there? Like, what?
If you have a platform in Los Angeles, like a hip hop platform, it's pretty much impossible to have that platform not include any elements of gang culture because you're surrounded by nothing but gang culture. So in that case, I can't really blame Adam for pivoting. Well, he ain't really pivot. He just does both, right? He just incorporated multiple elements. He still do the underground rap scene, but he also do the gang culture. So that part, I can't really fault Adam for transitioning. You in LA, bro. It's almost impossible not to do gangbanging content. Now, the fact that she keeps bringing up WACK100 makes me think, okay, maybe this is about WACK100. maybe Tasha K is savvy enough to where she knows enough about what Adam put out there, and
Let's hit that like
she's
button.
able
Hit the
to
like
draw from that and sort of spin this. But I don't feel like it will work. I don't feel like Tasha K doing this would make Adam separate himself from WACK100. I think it'll probably take the feds beating the door down, kicking in the roof, arresting Adam, and letting him know, bro, hey, bro, you either get rid of WACK100, man, or you do 20 years in prison. I feel like it would take that for Adam to separate from WACK.
Like, you got to understand, and who's snitching and telling everybody when they about to get a RICO, as if he goes and checks in at the federal office every day to come on the platform to tell everybody, yeah, it's your week, your month to get a RICO.
God damn. Hey, Yael. Hey, Yael. It's your week, it's your month to get a RICO.
Hey, what she failed to realize is that I went to the 64th floor. That's impossible. That right there is impossible. I was on the 64th floor with the flap jackets and the bitch.
And the bitch.
And they gave me the itinerary. I got the itinerary in my pocket. So yeah, I got a Tasha K.
So how you know about when everybody getting indicted in the week that they getting indicted?
Hey, be quiet because they still owe me a favor.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. It all makes sense now. All right, CS2 back. We almost finished with Tasha K, but she going in on you. Let me back that up one more time because she going in.
Get rid of WACK100, man, or you do 20 years in prison. I feel like it would take that for Adam to separate from WACK.
Like, you got to understand, and who's snitching and telling everybody when they about to get a RICO, as if he goes and checks in at the federal office every day to come on the platform to tell everybody, yeah, it's your week, your month to get a RICO, your turn. He's the only one that ain't getting locked up. Why? Why? And because he white, he gonna slide. He gonna slide. They ain't worried about him, but they are finna use that footage. They finna use that footage. And the only person I could blame is because that sat down to give him the footage.
Skip the line and get right to your destination. That's why you go with Hertz.
Salute, brother. Mug, let's go.
Every production line is powered by pros. The part we play, equipping them with the products and pro support.
Moving on. Now, he don't snitch now. He just, you got to fight that. Let me tell you something. When they was trying to subpoena me for my footage, my lawyers, the law school lawyers that I lost the case with, they actually won that one. I didn't have to give no footage over. Whatever is public, you take it. Now, there have been some federal agencies that we cooperated with, especially when it's involving scamming and all that stuff, but they wanted my sources, and then those sources were going to be turned over.
Oh, she's not wrong about the footage part. For sure, footage is going to be used at trial. Now, you know, it's yet to be seen if they're going to ask for raw copies of the footage, but a lot of the podcast is filmed live. So it's hard to really ask for a raw copy when it was live. So I feel like that's really the only thing that's saving No Jumper at this point, to be honest, in terms of you can't really ask No Jumper to hand over the footage or hand over raw information when it was a live stream. So everything that's live is what's live. So that right there would probably save No Jumper in terms of optics, because if No Jumper was forced to hand over like footage and information to the feds, and then it came out that No Jumper handed over information and footage to the feds that was used against Bricc Baby and Luce Cannon and Big U, that would be really bad in terms of still getting guests to come on the platform. So for now, I don't feel like they would have to, since all the content was live streamed. Okay, y'all let me know in the comment section though. What do you guys think? All right, do you guys believe the feds are sending a powerful message to No Jumper?
Hey, man, a message to No Jumper. They finna send a message to everybody.
Hey, CS2 back said, I talked to the law.
Yeah, he definitely did. You know what I'm saying? Bird, what up? Salute to Mike B, Active Chucks, and the whole shit. Salute, salute, salute. So, I mean, that's the content. It sounds like Tasha K ain't buying what Adam is selling. He's a white man that got a $4 million building for podcasting, ran up all of this stuff with WACK100 tied at the hip, old CS2 back, doing what the rat shit that he do, bringing Luce Cannon on to make outrageous claims against people, slandering people, and this was a regular thing, threatening people, right? I thought that on the internet, YouTube, if I threaten somebody on YouTube right now, YouTube will block my video. People will report you, you'll lose your channel. But
Hey,
they was
fuck
able
you.
to get a,
Fuck you, fuck John Jr. I got favors. They owe me favors.
So
nah, but you right. You right.
But she saying that nigga know these lawsuits gonna be coming after he done did all this dirt. So he trying to play broke now. But and then she was on CS2 back. How do you know who getting indicted every week? Master Splinter. I hate when that people do that. Joey H, he doesn't have every black man on there snitching. He doesn't. He tries to get every black man on there snitching, but I could specifically remember X4 was up there, and he tried to get him to self-incriminate, and he sat there quiet and looked at him like he was stupid. So stop trying to bunch everybody into one group. Is the platform trying to provoke people to talk about criminal behavior, implicating themselves and others? I'm 100% with you on that one. But those that ain't got up there and self-snitch, stop trying to lump them in with all of those that did fall for the okie doke. Master Splinter and his minions. I talk to detectives. Yeah, it's looking like he done did a lot. Luce Cannon went to school with me in Fontana. Tank TV said Luce Cannon went to school with him in Fontana, and you was in CDC with me. Big Messy Moore.
Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up with your Deuce Sims? Hey, what's up with your my brother Yael? Hey, I'm out here in the Noms getting ready for war. Salute to the Damu Kiwe Conversations.
He said he from the Inland Empire. Yeah, we already know that. Matter of fact, we gonna bring you up. Just hang out a little bit. We gotta run through this content. The Bears bowl me, they owe me. The Bears bowl me, they owe me favors. I talked to the law. Da Vinci Corleone. Oh yeah, man. But we got that. So that's pretty much it, man. Yael, you agree with Tasha K that they on some bullshit trying to save that money?
The fact that, and it's really keyed into what you was just giving that hard receipt right there, man. That Big U's gonna sue them for defamation of character and a whole bunch of other things, man. So it's just like him having to hurry up and deplenish that money up out those accounts and squeeze it all out and relocate it. That's most definitely has to be done, so he won't have to give up them funds. So you know what I'm saying? Like I 100% agree with Tasha K. She's hitting the nail right on the head, man. Salute to Tasha K for that. And we'll be waiting for the results of this because they are coming.
Yeah, I still don't agree with how hard she went at R. Kelly. I'm just gonna keep it.
Yeah, man. Hey, Tasha K, bring your ass over here, man. Come sit down and let's have this discussion with the Damu Kiwe.
Bruh, bring your bald head ass up here, bruh. But look, I want to get into this real quick, and then we're gonna get into the last video. This was really good. This was really kind of seemed like it came from a non-biased position. One of the first ones I held. Shout out Miss Lisa. She sent me this earlier this morning.
Salute, Miss Lisa. Salute.
Yeah, Miss Lisa.
Nisi Pie, what up?
Yeah, let's go.
Lord, I don't even know what to say.
Remember Big U? He turned himself into federal custody last month after a shocking indictment alleged he committed a number of crimes, from embezzlement to fraud to extortion to robbery, as well as violating the federal RICO Act. But that's not all. His indictment comes as such a shock because to the public, he appeared like an OG who just wanted to do good. But according to the feds, that was all a ploy. I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. Now, if Big U is convicted on his charges, he's not facing light time. He's facing life in prison. Now, last time I reported on this story, we had little info about the man he's accused of murdering beyond that he was an aspiring rap artist.
Y'all hit that like coming in.
Now we've learned the victim we previously knew as RW actually used to play football with Big U's son.
I just want y'all to know, all this stuff is quagmire. Shit is all bullcrap.
Not guilty. That's the plea Big U entered last week when he was arraigned on his charges. But Big U is looking at a major uphill battle, and the battle of a federal trial could soon begin as early as next month. According to his federal indictment, Big U ran a criminal enterprise that they call the Big U Enterprise. Court documents say the Big U Enterprise is a mafia-like organization that utilizes Henley's stature and long-standing association with the Rolling 60s and other street gangs to intimidate businesses and individuals in Los Angeles. Federal prosecutors claim Big U is known and regarded as a leader within the Rolling 60s Crips, and his time with the gang dates all the way back to the 80s. Where he rose up the ranks after earning his rep as an enforcer. So what do the feds have on him? According to the indictment, agents have confidential human sources, wiretaps, search warrants for social media, iCloud, Google accounts, financial records for individuals and companies or organizations, toll records showing communications between conspirators.
Because y'all don't want to hit them likes and get them likes up. We got almost 300 people in here with 40-some likes. So since y'all don't want to support, then I don't want to run the content. How about that? You know what I'm saying? Hey, yeah, what up, bro?
Oh man, we about to just have a cool little Damu Kiwe conversation, you know, big back and kick cack and chill out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I can tell you this about that Tasha K stuff. She definitely, one thing about a melanated black woman, they got a whole bunch of common sense. They ain't no dingy ass female. Yeah, they hip to the game. You know what I'm saying? They done been through all the game from dog ass niggas like us. Apologies for my contributions to you, to doing you sisters like that. But it's the truth. So they know all the moves, all the plays, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? They're scarred, mentally scarred. You know?
Right.
So when they see game being ran on them, even at this one, where Adam think, because he a Wyope, you know what I'm saying, a mountaineer, you know what I'm saying, that we don't see what's going on. No, nigga. We see exactly what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But more than that, I guess they don't like hitting the like button when they come up in here. If y'all don't want to hit the like button, we gonna just hang here 30 minutes if them likes ain't up. So when they tell me that the likes is up, then we'll go up. The real question is, why is DJ Khaled hiding? Man, DJ Khaled ain't hiding. Joey H, is you a conspiracy theorist, brother? What he do? You saying he was connected to R. Kelly, bro? That nigga R. Kelly did live in that forest house out in Florida somewhere, right? The guy take out and salute free Big U, hashtag free the real, hashtag keep the suckers. No, that's a fact. Go have fun, friend. Enjoy that, Selena. DJ Khaled, because he got business with Puffy, okay, and Big U. If it wasn't Nipsey Hussle protecting his punk ass, he'll still be alive. Nah, you way off, bro. Now, I remember he did used to have business with be with Puffy. I don't know if they actually did business, whether they was doing freak offs. I don't know nothing about none of that with Khaled, but I do remember seeing Khaled partying with Diddy. Take that. Community tribes, get active. That's a fact. Steffi Weffy in the chat. 600 WACK100 and SKG frame Big U. You forgot Luce Cannon. He's the star witness. You forgot about RICO the Red Rising. You can't just keep them up out. They deserve their credit. They all implicated that man in crimes. They all asserted criminal behavior to this man and attributed their crimes to him. You know what I'm saying? WACK100 is the highest paid informant on the West Coast. Damn, Da Vinci Corleone 702, how you know how much he getting paid? Because he's struggling right now financially. That
all his money.
Hey, you a little light, my nigga. Lenny Love, salute to the panel in the chat. No, what you say, bro?
He said that, but you know, it costs to keep your maintenance up on your man. I mean your woman. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you got a you know what I'm saying? A transmission problem. You know, so
transmission problem.
You know, he got those problems over there. He got to get them engines fixed, you know, because, you know, he likes sticking bananas in his tailpipe.
Yeah, 421 TV, salute. Tart Mystic. So many of my peeps have turned up to the live. I need to spam chat or be a huge message to wish you all my best, but each of you know who you are. Hey, Tart Mystic, we already know prayers to you and your family. And we're going to try to get you a wrench. So when this live is over, please go comment after the end of this live so we can get you a wrench. People were talking to me. So we gonna work with that. Some of the Blue Wrench Mob recommended that we give you a wrench. You always maybe that help get your mind off of things sometime. LA Shot called it bit the bike button, not hit the like button, bit the bike button. We need 100 more likes. I know there's more good peoples in here to hit that like button for this good content. Let's get active. Don't be a sugarfoot. Put them chucks on. Exactly. Just whoop, fresh off work. What up, Chad? Fat Daddy, salute. Hit that like D-Twin70. What up, bro? Fat Daddy, Jason Hyde. Go on and tap that thing. You know what I'm saying? Steffi Weffy. Let's see. Them rats in the rabbit hole about to get snuffed out. So we finna get to, let me know where the likes at, y'all. Can you see the likes, y'all?
I don't even know how would I be able to
I don't know. You gotta read the chat in the bottom, they'll tell you.
Read the chat in the bottom.
Playing with my chucks on, showing up. Hey, no, that's a fact. They said 100 more. We definitely need 100 more, man. We got almost 300 people in here and barely got 100 likes. That means we got almost 200 haters in this bitch, nigga. RICO the Rat Rising. Broke ain't no joke. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all just came in and hit that like button. Oh, yeah, they regulating. CS2 can fall back on his $200 million Congo diaper contract. Everybody know the game don't be with that nigga no more.
Facts.
Kimberly Jones laughing at Wack's downfall. Her name is no longer Kimberly Jones. It's Kimberly Ross. So let's get that right. Okay, I see where we at. All right, let's go. I see where we at. We good enough. I'm just saying, Dude Sims, he either getting a big salary or he getting major time knocked off his case. I believe it's a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. I know he ain't got the money, but I agree with you on that, brother. Let's get to this content, though.
Victims and Big U Enterprise members and associates, cell phone records, records from the city of Los Angeles, interviews from witnesses and victims. Now, essentially, they claim to have a lot on him, especially since the investigation launched in 2021. But here's what else we've learned since the last reporting of this story. So in addition to embezzlement, wire fraud, and all that, Big U was accused of murdering one of his rap artists in a Vegas desert in January of 2021. Now, previously, we only knew the victim as RW because that's what the indictment says. But now we know the victim.
Life's better when you're under our roof. Save up to 23% by bundling your home and auto with us.
They gonna get that.
However you book your car, first check Kayak to filter your rental search by car type to find exactly what you need. Then
victim's name, Rayshawn Williams. Now, prior to him being a rapper, he was a football player for Crenshaw High. The team even posting a remembrance to him on their Instagram page, writing in part, quote, "He was a very special guy to all of us here at Crenshaw. We hope that you pray and continue to pray for the family and hope that everything goes well along with them." But it's how Rayshawn died that's horrifying. Now, according to the indictment, Big U allegedly murdered Rayshawn by shooting him multiple times, then dragging his body into the desert and left him there in a ditch not far from Interstate 15. A witness told investigators Big U was one of the last people seen with Rayshawn before his murder. But why would he kill his own artist? Well, allegedly, Rayshawn recorded a diss track about Big U, even seemingly foreshadowing his own death. Now, the indictment says, quote, RW was dissing Henley, referring to Henley as the bro that makes some money, and that RW may get shot in the face for thinking his lackadaisical use of the studio and general representation of unique music is funny. Now, just 5 days later, after laying that track down, Rayshawn was shot in the face with a revolver that left no shell casings. But it's unclear if Big U heard the lyrics prior to the murder. But according to the internet gossip and rumors that are swirling around, others have suggested other reasons for why Rayshawn was murdered, like WACK100 alleging Rayshawn and Big U's son were in a relationship and Big U didn't like that. Now, nowhere in the indictment does it claim that
he got a murder.
WACK100 and Big U hate each other, so who knows? It might be Wack trying to get another jab in. But in addition to murder, federal prosecutors allege Big U's enterprise purported control of LA, to the point Big U allegedly required musicians, athletes, and others who wanted to do business in LA, both legitimate and even of the criminal kind, to check in. Now, if you're unfamiliar with checking in, it's pretty much you had to get permission from Big U to travel to LA if you wanted protection. Ironic enough, his podcast is called Checking In. He even made note of how to do it in the theme song. When you hop off a plane, check in. Penthouse suite, check in. When your feet hit the street, check in. Because if not, gets hot. You better check in. And checking in isn't just sending a text message to Big U saying, hey, I'm in Los Angeles. You got to pay him. And he's got to sign off on it if you want to conduct certain activities. Now, Big U has pretty much been a guest on every hip hop and rap podcast you can imagine, and the feds were watching. Now, they cited in the Hip Hop Uncovered documentary that Big U stated, if you don't pick up the phone, that can mean death for somebody. In the Nothing to Something podcast, he said, you go and check in. You could choose not to, and it's going to be a problem. If you choose not to check in, you suffer the consequences. Now, an example they used of the so-called consequences was the attempted murder for hire plot of rapper Quando Rondo, which was allegedly set in motion by rapper Lil Durk. Now, during that shooting, Quando Rondo wasn't killed, but his cousin was gunned down. Then there's the whole defrauding companies, donors, athletes, and celebrities part. Big U is accused of pocketing more than $100,000 in donations to Developing Options, his nonprofit charity. He even received donations from the likes of Draymond Green and Shaq. Now, according to the LA Times, in August of 2019, NBA star Draymond Green donated $20,000 to the nonprofit. Shaq donated the same amount. The money went into Big U's personal account. So that's a lot, right? And that's just the cliff notes pretty much. Now, I just want to point out here, obviously the feds are accusing Big U of violating RICO, so they allege he didn't do it alone. There were several others also picked up, and by picked up, I mean arrested as a part of the alleged criminal enterprise. Now, as for Big U, he claims that he's innocent. On the way to turn himself in, this is what he had to say.
I'm looking at this video as I come in to turn myself in, and I'm disheartened by the fact that they trying to say that I stole something from Developing Option, or I used Developing Option as a front. Developing Option paid my bills. They paid my house note. They paid the bills for my family, the money I made from as an employee for Developing Option. I never mixed that with nothing. I didn't manipulate nobody. I didn't steal nothing. We did PPP loans. We did 2 loans. And that's it, just like everybody else did. I didn't use no fraud. I didn't give none of fake names. And one of them we was paying back and one they forgave. You know what I mean? And the other one we attempted for and they didn't give us nothing for it. I filed my taxes and them coming around talking about I was using Developing Option as a cover. A cover for what? None of that's going to be true. None of that's going to be true. The government putting this big picture, they going to arrest 21 dudes. Some dudes I don't even talk to. I don't even know nothing about. So how the hell you gonna lump me in with all them? But it's all the big picture though. It's all the big picture. Now I'm gonna be sitting in here. It's gonna be years out of my life. You going to get dudes who I don't even talk to. What they gonna say? You ruining people's lives. I heard it's over 21 people that's been arrested. This shit wrong. It is what it is. Church, just pray for me. Pray for me, pray for my family. And you look at what we did. You look at what I did. I've been home 21 years. It ain't over though. That's what it's not.
It ain't over.
Blessings. I'm looking at all these charges on the news. I'm headed back to LA. And then I'm looking at the people they arrested. How you gonna go arrest people that I don't even talk to? That's a built-in liar right there. You know what I mean? So is that how they gonna work the case? Everybody know I don't Cannon. Everybody know I'm Bricc Baby. So if you want to arrest certain dudes, and put them next to me, them is the dudes you gonna have to call themselves turning against me. Well, ain't no turning against me. I ain't going for that. You might as well go get 600 and WACK. These dudes been saying I did all year. So what they doing is they go on the internet and these dudes say that I did shit on the internet. Then when you say I did on the internet, they go investigate it. Now you raiding my houses, raiding my shops, raiding all this stuff. And talking about I'm committing crimes and covering up with developing option. What crimes am I committing to cover up with developing option? You know what I'm saying? I ain't committed no crimes and covered nothing up with developing option. It's crazy. But this how they get you. They get one or two people to say something. Ain't gonna be no real evidence. Ain't gonna be no real nothing. It's gonna be a repeater thug. It's gonna be a bunch of people in jail for a bunch of different crimes that don't have nothing to do with me. They finna lump all of us up and say it's all around the 60s. Watch it. Just seen it with thug. I'm finna experience the same thing out here. I knew it was coming. Now they on there saying all this stuff to assassinate my character. All right, man, just pray for me. And again, they can do any one of us. It ain't nobody safe with these dudes. If these dudes feel they want you, how they going around talking about somebody's gonna raid my house before my house get raided? How they there with the police? And y'all sitting there following them. Everybody that's a part of them shows, and 100 shows, and all them shows, and y'all need to, everybody who following them, promoting them, anything. Y'all wrong. Y'all ain't black. And y'all show ain't for our people. They can put charges against anybody. So this is gonna probably be my last video. I'm gonna go turn myself in to see what's going on. They talking about I'm a fugitive. So they just raided all my houses. 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. And he's actually got video and footage of it. So y'all know what y'all dealing with. And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, it was asking about WACK. WACK, Luce Cannon, 600, and this internet stuff. All of y'all filed. All y'all who be sending shit around the internet, all y'all who be promoting and listening to what these niggas saying, all y'all giving these likes and hidden likes, all y'all supporting this. All y'all guilty of this. If you had something against a black man, you should handle it with a black man in the streets. WACK said 100 times he was gonna take my contracts. He working with the FBI. The FBI went to the city 3 days in a row and told the city they didn't want nobody to give me no more money. They went to all the different celebrities and told all the different celebrities, don't give me no money, don't help me, don't do nothing for me. They going around scaring and intimidating everybody. But y'all sending it around, getting people in trouble. Like y'all don't understand what the FBI do to black men who try to help their community. I ain't been nothing but a help to our community. But I guess it is what it is. This the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community and do what you can. You're just guilty because somebody else don't like you and they can go on the internet and do what they want to.
Yeah, Stephanie Waffy. But it didn't even need to be debunked. We already
y'all gonna
do.
promote it. It's crazy. But I'm going to go turn myself in though. Because I ain't did nothing. This fact is, man, they done went to my house, kicked my houses in, bust my doors down, bust my windows. They calling my son at his football practice, threatening him. You know what I mean? These dudes tagging him. What kind of shit is this? But y'all gonna be rolling with these dudes. And I got this last thing to say. WACK said he was gonna destroy developing option, right? So who gonna replace developing option? Which one of you 60s gonna call yourself coming in? Because whoever try to come in, y'all the ones that's working with WACK. Believe that. So remove me to get me out the way for somebody else to come in who gonna cooperate. That's what the play is. That's what the whole play is. I'm out. I'm gonna send y'all videos to put up, all of them until they lock me up.
And we'll see how this plays out, as new reports suggest he could face trial as early as next month.
Let's bring on trial attorney Adante Pointer to get his take on what Big U's trial could look like. Adante, thank you so much for joining me today. Now, before we get into the trial aspect of everything, what's actually your reaction to Big U's 107-page indictment? In it, there's so many allegations like violation of RICO Act, allegations of embezzling, allegations of murder, and that federal authorities actually date back some of these alleged crimes as early as 2021.
Yes, this is a very much a sprawling indictment that has ensnared not only Big U, but it implicates a lot of different people, because the government essentially laid out their case to say this was not a single individual, although he was the head or the mastermind, if you leave it to what the government has put together, of this criminal enterprise. And in order for it to be an enterprise, that means there are other people involved. And so this is a net that is in.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Gregory Womack, listen, bro. If the dick trapper is all over WACK and 600 head, whenever you write that after mentioning the dick trapper, it's a hard pause, no Diddy at the end of that thing. Let's go.
Snared more than just Big U, but it's also implications for a lot of other people on a far-ranging list of crimes. And this is something that was pretty shocking to read. It almost read as if it was a fiction novel. But from the government's position, this is fact, not fiction.
Oh, yeah. And it does feel like it's a movie script just kind of playing out. And it's interesting, too, because the persona Big U kind of portrayed was that of a former OG that's now a community activist. He wants to do good for the community. And while we can say two things can be true at once, right? Like maybe he was doing good for the community. But if you believe what the federal authorities are.
See, and this is where you see the prosecutors and the media are overselling it and trying to destroy Big U's reputation. They don't even want to give him that the two things could be true. He could be trying to help his community and extorted somebody because he was low on funds. He could have been like Robin Hood, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. They don't even want to give him that credit. Both things can be true. What they're trying to do is not only take away his freedom, not only implicate him in all of these crimes, but take away that fact. But what they can't do, and we're gonna try to get every one of these kids to sign petitions, to come testify, or make video. We'll put together a video collection of these kids talking about what Big U, Coach U, meant to them. You know what I'm saying? Young black boys in the ghetto some of which who don't have fathers or father figures in their life. But they're trying to take that away from them. Salute to this sister and this brother for keeping it a buck on that one, man. Let's go.
Are alleging, especially in this indictment, you know, he was running pretty much essentially a mafia-like enterprise. They even said that in the indictment. What's your reaction to kind of what feels like a double life he was living?
Well, you know, you mentioned that two things can be right. And so he could have also been engaged in things that were positive, if you will, for the community in terms of helping a community that's very disadvantaged and hasn't received the same economic opportunities. Nevertheless, you have to counterbalance that with these allegations right now that show that he was involved in not just trafficking and extorting people, but also they say that he personally committed a murder. So, you know, those are very stark contrasts and contradictions of a person. And I'm sure the community knows him one way or maybe both ways. That's what's going to be pretty riveting, is to see if this case makes it to trial and or more information that comes out as relates to where the government got their information from. We may see two contradictions of a man on full display, or we may see that this is really the monster as he's been portrayed, or as Big U has tried to portray himself, a victim of government overreach.
And what are your thoughts on Big U kind of declaring his innocence?
Let's pause it right there. Hey, yo, you got a super chat real quick?
We got Tartan Mystic with the $5 pound. Hit that like button. It's free, but the support helps the channel. It's dark work keeping feet on the neck of the wrong guns. A weed like encourages like Deuce and Ya. Tartan Mystic, we appreciate the $5 pound. Anything and everything that was given to the Damu Kiwe Conversation team is highly appreciated. Salute to you, your family, and your tribe.
No, that's a fact. We're gonna get back to it, but this is really good. Their language, their temper of just spitting out the facts of the situation. They have the federal government and all of its resources going against Eugene Henley Jr. They're going to try to put him away for life. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's a lot. But you're going to hear them say innocent till proven guilty, and that does not mean because they have a high conviction rate that Big U is going to end up in that 98% who get convicted. Let's go.
Now, before he had turned himself into federal authorities, initially people thought he was going to make a run for it, but he turned himself in. We know that, and he's been in custody for weeks at this point. But in terms of just what federal authorities have on him, but Big U's kind of declaring that, to your point, this is overreach. What's your reaction to that?
Well, you know, when you're up against a federal indictment and one of the cornerstones and the bedrocks of our democracy is innocent until proven guilty, I think that he played it the way that you could, which is he's saying, hey, I didn't do all of these things that you're claiming. I'm not this monster that you're portraying me to be. And I'm looking forward essentially to defending myself against these allegations. That in and of itself.
Remember how the fake news media, the crooked news media
doesn't necessarily.
Shout out to Agent Orange for helping expose the crooked news media who did the same thing to the Black Panthers and other Black leaders in the community. And then once they started doing it to him, he started exposing them, right? But remember how they were saying Big U's a fugitive. Big U was running. The videos he did where he's talking and calling these dudes out to be rats, that's making it worse for him. And how they tried to portray this narrative, everything with negative connotations. And here you have a lawyer, someone who understands legal positions and how the federal system moves. And he said this is exactly the best that Big U could do given his circumstances. That this was a positive, that he didn't run. Let's get back to it, man.
mean that I didn't do anything that's being alleged, or that I wasn't some part or piece of the entire mosaic or picture that they're painting. He's just simply saying, look, I didn't do all that you said I did. This isn't the way it went down, and I look forward to saying my piece. And you're targeting me. And that same allegation rings very similar to what we had with our current president, who was the target, if you will, of federal activity in the courts and prosecutors. And he wound up his way in the White House in the Oval Office.
Yeah, that is very correct. As far as the allegations in Big U's indictment, when it comes to wire fraud allegations, embezzlement, making fraudulent applications for COVID-19 relief loans, and then you have that on top of some of the more kind of heinous allegations too, that being murder, allegations of robbery, kidnapping, all of that sort. Why do you think that they're all kind of stacked together in this massive indictment, as opposed to, for example, the murder happened back in 2021? Why do you think that wasn't taken up as a separate matter, and then possibly the financial stuff taken up in another matter? Why do you think it's all together? It's so that way federal authorities can kind of get a slam dunk and a win, or what are your thoughts on that?
Typically, when you see the federal authorities or any prosecutor kind of lumped together an assortment of crimes that range over an extended period of time, what they're looking at is the cumulative effect of the weight. When Big U were to step into a trial and or try to negotiate a plea bargain on this case, the prosecutor has 5, 10, 15 different criminal acts and violations to choose from to kind of to put him in a rock and a hard place, so to speak. And so what you see is they pile on, is the term that the criminal defense attorneys use. We say, you've piled on all these charges in order to make it that much more difficult for my client to fight for his freedom, and or if we were to go to trial, you paint such a negative picture by claiming all these different things. A jury is more likely to think, well, maybe not all of these things are true, but one of these things are true. And we might not agree on the most severe crime, but we can make a compromised verdict in terms of a jury.
You see what he's saying? By Big U dropping those videos, some of the people who they're poisoning in the possible jury pool might have seen these videos and believe that he sounded honest, believe that he was convincing when he first said that, and consider that while they're deliberating and they're seeing that everything ain't adding up to what the prosecution, how the prosecution is trying to represent it.
Agreeing on a charge or a conviction on something that's a little bit less serious, but yet carries devastating consequences in terms of prison time.
Yeah, because he's facing life in prison, and not even just life in prison, a statutory max sentence of life in prison. What are your thoughts on whether or not this could be a possibility for him, especially given that, you know, he had previously served time for a completely different separate matter? But in terms of just the punishment that he's facing, it is a lot of time, but what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, federal charges and convictions come with heavy penalties. That's why the weight of the federal government, when it's leaning on you as the criminal defendant, or if you're the criminal defense attorney, is punishing. Because especially for people who have prior convictions, you have the risk of being declared a career criminal, which in and of itself invokes a mandatory minimum of decades of time. And that's how the federal system works. It's a point system as it relates for how a punishment could be meted out. So when he has all these different variety of crimes, you add that to his prior convictions, and you're looking at a staggering amount of time as it relates to prison exposure. And that's why many people plead, because you're up against a very difficult decision. Do I risk what might be hundreds of years in prison, or do I take 10, 15, 20 years, which is still an amazing amount of time, but you still have an opportunity to come home and restart your life, versus 300 years, which is essentially a death sentence.
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of surprised that given this overwhelming amount of evidence, it seems like from federal prosecutors and from authorities, that I was a little surprised that Big U pleaded not guilty. Now, again, he maintains his innocence in all of this, but as in terms of him not going through with the plea in this case, now going to trial, what's your reaction? What do you think it could look like?
Well, he's going to have amount of time to review the federal government's evidence against him and try to challenge it and then mount his own defense. At some point in time, as you mentioned, he will have to make the decision. Am I going to try to make a deal or accept an offer, or will I have to go to trial? Those are going to be heavy concerns and considerations for him to think through, because as we discussed, he's looking at an inordinate amount of time, and the federal government will give you that time. There's no question. So this will be a very difficult decision. And I think primarily it'll weigh upon the witnesses coming to court and cooperating. But that's actually a very common tactic of the federal government, is when you're facing a federal prosecution, oftentimes they already have the witnesses against you in the bag, so to speak, and they're cooperating, and they have sentences, and they have statements and interviews and recorded evidence. So oftentimes when you see a federal indictment, the federal government has already done the research, they've already done their homework, but that doesn't mean people do not beat these charges. That certainly can happen. So
they do have a high conviction rate, but that does not mean people cannot beat these charges. People be so scared of massa that they got a conviction rate. Listen, if out of 100 cases, 5 people go to trial, their batting average of people winning in trial is going to be low, right? But the minute that you got everybody going to trial, that's more chances that these DAs is effing up. They're overzealous. They do too much when instead of just keeping it with what they could prove, they try to stretch it to get motherfuckers stretched out even more. But KG, you're right. What the F? Overwhelming evidence. Bitch, you saw the evidence? No, shut up. And you're right. The discovery, the discovery haven't even came out. The only thing they referred to some wiretaps, but how do you get overwhelming discovery by seeing some wiretaps? That's not necessarily overwhelming. In fact, I believe what they've shown so far is underwhelming, particularly when it comes to the murder, particularly when it comes to the tax evasion. We have seen no documents that prove that he was taking money or misappropriating funds. We have no evidence of that. So at this point, from what we've seen, it is far from overwhelming. It's underwhelming. Let's go.
Oh, it's to be determined, as they say.
And as far as the murder allegation, he's accused of murdering a rapper that was signed to his label. And the feds pretty much allege that he did this because this rapper, who we now know to be Rashawn Williams, recorded a diss track about Big U. Now, it's unclear whether or not Big U actually heard these lyrics prior to the shooting. But in terms of just the murder, the murder allegation. What are your thoughts on this, especially given kind of the close nature that Big U allegedly had with the victim?
Once again, to read that allegation and to hear that he murdered a rapper that worked for him, that was on his recording label, that he actually was supposed to be looking out for and kind of shepherding through the entertainment industry, shot him allegedly in the face and left him for dead on the side of a highway, all because this rapper made a diss track or disrespected him in a song. Those are very shocking allegations and, heinous if proved true. And, it's something that you'd hate to hear happen to anyone. But over something as petty as a diss track is something that's just unimaginable to think about, the depravity of a person to do such a thing. So it's definitely a jaw-dropping headline. The question is it true? And what is the evidence to back it up? And so that remains to be seen.
Wisconsin homeowners, you can replace your old AC unit at no cost thanks to new funding.
Yeah, and in terms of even just that, you also have this kind of other aspect to the entire case, and that's Big U's kind of way of raining this power down on LA, and that's in the form of checking in. Something that really federal authorities kind of laid out how Big U kind of operates that in terms of just even having professional athletes, musicians, other people who wanted to come down to LA pretty much make a form of payment to make sure that they were protected essentially by Big U, so that way consequences wouldn't happen. And the feds even kind of point out what the consequences are, that being the shooting or the attempted murder of rapper Quando Rondo, and that kind of has to deal with the Lil Durk case. But in terms of just the whole checking in aspect to this case, and just even the power that Big U exuded, because they got the whole check-in thing, you know, and I could just kind of ramble on about this, but they got the whole check-in thing because Big U always talked about it on podcasts and documentaries. He was very vocal, and it seems like the feds were watching this entire time. But in terms of just the evidence that the federal authorities have as far as the podcasts, the documentaries that he had done, but in addition to Big U saying these kind of words out of his own mouth, how bad does that look for the defense come trial?
Well, when you are facing criminal charges and some of the key items or pieces of evidence are words you yourself have uttered out of your mouth, they're very hard to walk back. They're very hard to dodge the implications of those. And so many of these rappers and, you know, people in the entertainment industry have gotten very fond of getting on social media and on podcasts and telling stories, or, you know, recording themselves in the midst of whatever they're doing, essentially admitting to what they're doing and describing what they're doing, which to me is essentially saying, hey, raising your hand and saying, hey, I'm ready to go to jail, or I'm ready to go to prison, take me in. And so unfortunately, you know, for Big U, they're citing a lot of these different interviews or internet posts where he's talking about checking in. I do note that, you know, and keep in mind, I imagine a part of his defense, I would think, is going to say, look, you know, given where people want to film these videos, or they want to come and do their marketing or their advertisements and shoot these videos, these are in dangerous parts of LA. And the police are not here protecting people. The police come after a crime takes place. You know, many people in these communities say the police come to pick up the shells or to pick up the bodies. They're not there before the shooting takes place or the protection before, you know, the carnage happens.
Now, as someone where they're going to try to paint this picture that he was just this gangbanger and all of that, well, obviously, a lot of the Rolling 60s hated him, worked with the authorities to lie, snitch, and to get this man arrested. So that's going to hurt. So that's why they came with well, it's the Big U enterprise. Well, is that a reputable name in Los Angeles? Like, who all claims they're part of this Big U enterprise? How did you guys first hear the name Big U enterprise? From the FBI. They're trying to call it the Big U enterprise. That's not a fucking game. That's not a fucking name. I never heard of no shit like that. Right? But in any event, this shit is nasty work. They're gonna drag his name, and you right, old girl was all the way out of pocket with the question she was asking. But they still weren't as bad as the regular news people, the fake news, the crooked news media. They still didn't do as bad as them, but this is nasty work.
And so Big U's like, hey, I'm providing a service.
But yeah, what they were talking about, and I don't want to forget this part, his defense naturally is going to be, I'm not a gang member, I'm a community activist. So when people come, I know how dangerous it is in South Central Los Angeles. I help bring down the gang murders in my section for the last 20 years. I have influence. Some people respect me enough not to do nothing when people yell my name. Some people don't. So people try to utilize that and capitalize off my name, my brand, and stature within my community as a good guy. Yes, an ex-gang member, but a good guy. And I think that's very compelling. His makeup, this is how we get them kids in the community in there to paint this different story to these jurors. Oh, man, I don't think they really know what the fuck they up against. This is making me more optimistic by the minute. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. This shit, hey, that right there, them trying to talk about the checking in as extortion is going to be one way he's able to well, we need to subpoena all of these people because you guys say that you have 50 witnesses who are testifying this. It would only be just for us to be able to bring 50 witnesses that are going to attest that he never forced them to do anything. He never even had to ask them to do anything. And if he did, it was, well, could you go play with the kids? Go play catch and chill with the kids, you know what I'm saying? Interact with the children. No money. But you got this rat got caught with dope, that got caught pimping on minors and got caught with some work. And now he talking about he was being extorted. Get the fuck out of here. Let's go.
These rappers, these entertainers want to come to these dangerous neighborhoods and you know, take pictures and take videos. I'm actually there making sure that bad things don't happen. I'm providing order that the police are not providing. Now, that's very much like the Godfather Don Corleone-esque. So I don't know how it'll actually play in a courtroom, but I think many people in the community and in the industry understood it. Unless he was actively going after people saying, hey, if you didn't check in, now I have to come and rob you. And that is a part of the allegations in the federal indictment, is that it wasn't just he was providing protection in places.
True, but they're saying that that's Dale the long tail rat. So his credibility, Marley Marl credibility, and Luce Cannon credibility is going to be key as it was relates to the extortion and Hobbs crime. Let's go.
Why I switched to this hair color and will never go back. I've been dyeing my braids for a few years now. For a while.
And in ways that the police weren't unable to. It was that the allegation is that if he understood that a celebrity was coming to LA and they did not check in, did not pay the tax, if you will, for his protection, then he would actively send people after them in order to rob them, in order to further cement his reputation as the boss, if you will, in these neighborhoods.
And it's interesting too, because, you know, given street code, right? Not that I'm too familiar with it, but from my understanding of it, it just seems like there is just kind of this code of honor in a way. That is just kind of the way that the streets run. And even in terms of Big U talking about checking in, he says, you know, even when he leaves LA, he makes it a point to check in if he's going to Chicago, if he's going to Atlanta. So it seems like there's kind of this, you know, if you do this for me, I do this for you type of code of honor in a way for this in the streets. But in terms of just leaving the street life, because they sometimes when you're caught too in deep, it seems like there's no way of getting out, and then this type of thing happens. But in terms of just, you know, the OG's not leaving the street life. We're in 2025 now. A lot of things have changed in terms of, you know, people are more vocal on podcasts or more vocal on social media, just about things that they may not realize could be coming off very criminal, but they're still talking about it, not realizing that other people are watching. But in terms of just the street life bleeding into criminal activity that just keeps going and going and going, what are your thoughts about that overall?
Yeah, you know, he certainly has a past that's been discussed, had some convictions, known to be a power player or the boss within his circle and within his circle of influence there in Los Angeles. And yes, people do check in when they go into different parts of our country. Now, is it a check-in to say, hey, I'm here, you know, look out for me, tell me the best restaurants, tell me the best places to hang out, tell me the places to avoid? That's a certain type of check-in. And those are the type of things that many of us might do if we're going to a place that we're not familiar with, and we have people who are familiar with that place in our circle. The problem that, you know, people run into is when you provide those type of recommendations or services, A, for money, and B, under pain of being robbed or beaten or killed. Okay, that's called extortion. That's different than merely, you know, checking a Yelp review. All right, and so that's what the federal government is talking about here.
Right, but okay, you saying Dale is saying this, and Marley Marl, two of WACK100's close associates, admittingly. So the fact that we're able to articulate here at the Damu Kiwe Conversation to the attorneys the story that WACK100 engineered Marley Marl and flipped him against Big U, as well as quick to tell Dale Morrison, flipped him against Big U, as well as Luce Cannon, right? Flipped him against Big U as a bigger plot to take down Big U and frame him to get those contracts. And we got the proof. WACK said it himself, even sending SKG, right? So, yeah, man, he definitely got action. And where they are alleging that, I want to see how that jury is going to believe this Chomo pimp, right, that was pimping on 2 minors and 5 other black women, right? The same dude that's on a RICO indictment in Ohio, and he's only telling this so that he could get out of jail one day. Where was he? If he was such a victim, why was he continuing to move drugs, to pimp on females? Are we gonna get him? And then Marty Marl, his cooperation started as soon as he got that time for pimping another pimp, right? Out in Vegas. Their credibility is gonna be key on the convictions or not acquittals and during trial.
I do once again understand and appreciate the idea that these people often are high net worth individuals. They live a flashy lifestyle. They're going into areas where, you know, violence and crime definitely takes place. The police don't appear to be able to maintain that order. And there's something to be said about communities being organized in a way to where someone outside of the system who may not be able to, in areas that the system may not be able to reach, is able to maintain some sense of order and decorum about how things are going to take place in these communities.
Man, Big U might have to hire this brother for his attorney. See, in these situations, maintaining that kind of decorum outside of police who are not accepted within our community, they've never had our best interest. They don't show up until after the bullets done hit the ground, after you done been robbed, after you have been unalive. But you have someone else in the community advocating on behalf of the people. This is the story that needs to be told to the jurors for them to understand. Big U, he sent the word out that he needs the Damu and Kiwe Conversations. Yeah, I didn't even tell you this, bro. So we got a message, and he said,
oh, wow.
I need the Damu and Kiwe Conversations. I need the world to know exactly the information that's going on. So he knows he ain't even got to ask us. He knows that's it. That's just what's in us. It ain't on us, it's in us. And that's what separates us from the rest of these niggas. And that's what makes us the voice of the culture. Fuck how many niggas you done shot. I guarantee you niggas ain't got as many stripes as I got. I don't care how many niggas you done beat up. You ain't got the reputation and love in your community that I got. But this ain't even a pissing contest on that. This ain't about gang banging. Nigga, when you gonna put in some work for positive, constructive movement and headway in your community? Fuck bragging about how we tore down our community. When are you gonna do it for what you believe is what's best for your community? We almost finished with this. Let's get off this video.
And so that may be the role Big U played. And if that's the case, then we also understand from just watching politics and just our everyday things is that when the person who is maintaining that order is removed, there is a power struggle at times, and there's a power vacuum, and then people are competing to fill that void. And oftentimes that leads to even more violence than the authority.
It's a power vacuum. People are looking to fill the void. Big U being taken off the street, this powerful black man. This is what the jurors need to hear. Because we got WACK saying that I'm coming for them contracts. Shout out Scandalous Los Angeles TV. Y'all be looking for that video. It might drop tonight or early in the morning, but it's directly on.
Authorities think that they were trying to stem or quell. Instead, it incites violence and aggressive activity. And so that also remains to be seen.
Think all eggs are the same? Think again.
Got about
Avian
3
flu has
more minutes
impacted
for this
millions
video,
of cage
man.
and cage-free.
Great
There have
content.
been some reports that have been suggesting that the trial could start as early as next month, which to me sounds just completely insane. But do you think that's actually plausible given just how extensive this case really is? Do you see it even going on trial next month or getting pushed back, especially now that he's in custody?
I was a bit surprised to say this case is scheduled for trial in such a short window of time. However, I also understand that as a defense attorney and as a defense strategy, sometimes you want to push the government or the prosecutor to trial quickly because you do not believe that they have all their ducks in a row and will be able to essentially be organized, be prepared, and ready to bring all the witnesses and the evidence to bear at trial against you. So that's also sometimes a tactic. At the same time, generally speaking, time is in the defendant's favor if they allow time to kind of run out and allow time to extend out, because witnesses' memories fade, bad things happens to people, are not easily found, and a case can fall apart over time. And so it's usually that's to the defendant's benefit to allow the time to kind of run out and not ask or push for a quick trial.
Right,
but just because the trial is scheduled for within a month's time or so does not mean it will go at that time.
You don't
Oftentimes
know
trials are
who's
delayed,
checking
they're
in.
continued to later dates for reasons on both sides of the aisle. Sometimes the prosecutor.
Hey, see, hold on. Phil White, obviously you ain't from our community because you don't know who checking in. I'm talking about movie directors, film companies, Paramount Pictures. You don't know who the fuck checking in, bro. You just on the outside looking in and you trying to push that narrative. Yeah, good luck with that one. I guess you ain't seen the paperwork where they were talking about the Jew boy and all of this other shit, right? Damn, our people is the worst. Any kind of structure or organization, y'all are boring because you niggas is cowards. Nigga, everybody understands the power of numbers except our people. Everybody understands the power of unity except our people. Everybody understands the power of the black dollar except us. So they exploit us. Any sort of organization and structure, y'all bored because you niggas is afraid of these peoples, nigga. Let's go.
Needs more time. Other times the defense needs more time, or even the court. So I wouldn't bet on trial proceeding in a month or so. However, it could happen at some later point in time if neither the defendant and the prosecutors can agree on some type of deal.
And how much of a hurdle do you think the defense is looking at, even though the prosecution has the burden of proof, but in terms of just what they have versus the defense, do you think they're really looking at an uphill battle here?
Well, assessing how difficult of a row it is for the prosecution to hoe is only going to be able to really be assessed once you see the evidence behind the allegations, and whether or not people who provided evidence to the federal government are actually going to come to court and say the same things. People oftentimes, and we've seen this in Young Thug's case down in Atlanta, where who the prosecutors thought were a star witness, that person came to court and made a mockery of the entire process, to where Young Thug, who was facing hundreds of years of time, at minimum decades of time in prison, he's at home on his couch on probation. So, these are different. The outcomes are not certain, nor is conviction fixed. Things can happen, and, we have to wait with bated breath to see how this all plays out.
Facts.
Right, because I remember very clearly when everything, and I'm pretty sure I know which witness you're talking about, where it just kind of felt like we were in the longest trial ever. It just all went from downhill. So you really never know when it comes to trials what the outcome could actually be. Adante Pointer, I want to thank you so much for your insight into this case. I really appreciate your time. If you had a crystal ball, what do you think Big U is looking at in terms of a conviction? Do you see a jury saying not guilty? Do you see a jury saying guilty on all counts? If you had possibly a crystal ball, what do you think we're looking at?
Well, I don't see a guilty on all counts. Oftentimes these charges, they vary in terms of their strength. What I can see though is, given how the federal government works and the system and the weight and the awe, if you will, of when you read that, when you read the criminal complaint or the indictment and it says the United States government versus one individual, it really does mean that. So convictions are done at a very high rate in federal criminal cases. So I could see a conviction. The question that I can't kind of make out, and the answer that I can't make out of my crystal ball, is which conviction he'll go down on.
And I guess it'll be a wait and see game to see how this all continues to unfold. Again, Adante Pointer, I want to thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, the Weavy Wonder, shout out to the brother and the Weavy Wonder. She's still one as bad as them people. She definitely descend from you know what I'm saying, broken slave. Boy, don't you go start no uprising in the field. Massa be a good massa. Let's get them lights up, man. We got the content. You know what I'm saying? We got the content. Let's see what they talking about. Blood, you ain't one. You a big bitch if you cool with that. Right. Hit that. Facts, Mike B. Tart, look, they tripping in the chat. That's right. Steffi Weffy Rose, what she say? Talk your shit, Mike B. Not one lie told. All facts. Stand on the media. Steffi Weffy, hey queen. Salute to Stand on the Media, man. I seen you working your magic earlier today, man, on your campaign. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Danny in District 13 also. You know what I'm saying? I see y'all on y'all shit. Y'all been in the lab studying and trying to stay abreast of all of the circus. You know what I'm saying? Phil White, Garth Brooks, and Taylor Swift not coming to the hood, goofy, man. Hey, what's crazy is the same people that produced Training Day, all of these people that checked in, right? That's my lassies, always give me a giggle. Salute, Duke Sims. Salute, y'all. Peace to the tribes in North America. Peace to you, God. You know what I'm saying? Peace to you, King. I know family dinner now. Text me, friend. Man, y'all out there communicate, cooperating as ninjas. Hey, man. Y'all laughing at that. The Weavy Wonder. Hey, listen,
they
man.
own her in the chat, bro.
Yeah, she bought it. Let her wear her weave. Is it hair or weave? Hair or weave? Is it hair or weave? Now, anyone with common sense would like an ambassador. I'm not a gangster, but I want to have a good time safely. No, listen, when I go out of town, you best believe I'm tapping in with the homies. Hey, where the Bloods at? You know what I'm saying? Hey, where the Bloods at? When I'm in jail and I get to a tier, where the Bloods at? You know what I'm saying? I identify myself off the Guinea. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't know what's up with these other niggas, but I know what I'm gonna do. Nigga, I need to know who's who, where's where, what's what not to do, the temperature, and then you might be good one time and get acclimated to how things is this year, and then you come back next year and it's a turf war over warring factions of drug cartels or gangs fighting over territory, and you trying to go get you some motherfucking chicken and waffles. you end up being the victim. It's always the innocent bystander that ends up the victim in them type of situation, not knowing what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? Renegade Duchess said, yeah, like, where the weed at? Cherry Kiss Lucija. So we got another video. And I wanted y'all to see Al Prophet and tell me, did he fail horribly on this, WACK100 know the real shooter in the Biggie case. OG Stutterbox, aka CS1. I don't think that Stutterbox is, because they offer Stutterbox immunity. Also, I don't think Stutterbox is CS1, because in that case, he was the actual victim. He was the complaining victim. If you look at the paperwork, matter of fact, I'll show that when I stop, right? But when you look at the front of the paperwork, the documents, it says victim and complaining witness. That's not a confidential informant. That's not a confidential source. Now, was he a confidential source on other information? Okay, probably. But as far as on that case, nah. But let's see what he's talking about. I ain't even seen all of this. Let's go.
For me, the best rapper ever was Biggie. And that interesting looking building back there, about 28 years ago, when was he born? 97 he was killed. So 28 years ago, the Peterson Automotive Museum, that red building there, that's where he was gunned down outside of. And of course, that's a big, huge, long story. But it's so interesting and fascinating, even more so in terms of the storyline than Tupac, because we really don't have a good idea at all of what happened, of what led up to Biggie being killed. We really, at least in a Tupac, highly likely it has something to do with Orlando Anderson, right? Probably, I guess. But with Biggie's killing, many theories abound, and there's really no clear-cut lead. And I just want to briefly touch on something, because you watch enough of YouTube, there's a bunch of bullshit on YouTube, but there is some interesting stuff if you pay attention. I was talking about how now there's guys running YouTube channels from their jail cell, their prison vlogging. So I was saying, why watch a guy on No Jumper talk about being in the gang and what goes on in prison when you got people in prison making vlogs? And one of the guys I watched is a guy named Jay Hood.
He told you how me and my father never really dealt with each other growing up. So when I say he made me into the person I am today, I mean, he brought Islam into my life. He the reason I'm alive. It's my father. And he helps me. Period. That's what I'm gonna leave it at that. He helps me when I need help. I don't ask for too much or anything. I got my own money, but anytime I need advice on anything, he there. There's been times where I'm in the prison cell and he helped me bust a $30,000 plate. You feel me? You know, I'd have had you on the phone with my dad before all this that came out. So, you know how I feel about my father. That's my only parent I got left. So, I'm never gonna turn on my father, period. And you're absolutely right. I do tell my dad to stay out the streets. Stop commenting on street stuff. Stay in that gated community where you live at. You feel me? In the $1 million homes. Driving in $500,000 cars. You feel me? And that's the truth. I tell him that. But my father is my father.
Jay Hood is finished.
Hey, listen. And I wanted to speak on this. He was trying to send me the video. I think he interviewing his dad, right? Now, just like me, I totally disagree with what Stutterbox did. He was supposed to keep it in the streets. When we interviewed him, that was the first thing we did before I even agreed to talk with him. So we're not confusing our fan base, our people, anything about what he did and how we look at that. But from a journalistic standpoint, this was the victim. He was also an informant. So he had, I believe, that he had information, unique information that would help me better understand the circumstances involving the Main Street case, the Tupac and Biggie murder investigation, and the Deja 34 investigation. And I was right. Now, J Hood, he feels the exact same way I do about his dad from a street perspective. He's all the way wrong for not keeping it in the street. But he said that's his dad. And he didn't even grow up with his dad always around and in his life or whatever. But his dad was there for him when he got this case, not financially, just being a father. So fuck the gang shit. That shit's over with when he did what he did, and that's Main Street business, right? I don't even care what he did. The Main Street don't seem like they got an issue with what he did, and that's their decision. As a father, trying to figure it out, navigate, be there for his son in his time of need to help him get the understanding that he grasps right now, to accept responsibilities for his actions, introducing him to Islam. These are the type of things that you teach your child, especially a young man who you're trying to help mature to another level. And I pray that J Hood takes his own advice and leave that street shit alone. What y'all don't see and don't acknowledge because Stutterbox did wrong by not keeping it in the street is the betrayal that he suffered first. Everybody, even myself, could talk about what I wouldn't do and what I would do. What E40 say on that Tupac album, these I was fenced to ass niggas. But you never had the leader of your own gang, who most people called the king of LA. He was that powerful. Talking about kidnapping your niece, trying to kill you and your wife. These are civilians. And it ain't no justification. I know what I signed up for, and I know some people play them type of games. But from a father's standpoint, I see what he's been trying to do with J Hood. I commend J Hood for being able to receive that and his growth. But the same way that the streets betrayed your dad, don't be ignorant enough to believe the streets won't do the same for you out of jealousy, out of envy, or even fear. A scared man to do you quicker than a killer. Keep that in mind, man. But I just wanted to speak on that because I hadn't. Let's go.
Missing out, I guess, a plea bargain for some homicides. He's in a gang from Stevenson Village, Crips, I think. His father is this guy named Stutterbox. Stutterbox, if you're into watching YouTube beef, was kind of briefly going back and forth with WACK100.
I call WACK. My Rolls Royce gets shot up. My girl almost get killed. I lay on top of her. We make it up out of there. WACK see the bullet holes in my car the next day. He reaching out, trying to contact the nigga who supposed to be the boogeyman. I know where the nigga live at, behind my back. It's in the paperwork. All on wiretap. That's why your house got raided, you bitch ass nigga. You conspiracy to commit murder, nigga. You buster ass nigga.
Hold on, Mike B, you know you my bro. Mike B said if Box had any involvement with Biggie, it was supposed to be to protect Biggie, him and the Muslims. But the feds had something held over his head and made him and his crew get on if he was involved. Hell of a train of thought, man. Hell of a train of thought. And I always encourage people thought, but just keep putting that if and allegedly and all of that. Let's go.
But let me tell you how it play out. I call cuz, like, cuz, it's 3 niggas sitting in front of your house, cuz. Is these your homies, Wack?
Audiences are loving The Amateur.
I want to find and kill the people who murdered my wife.
Critics agree it's a brilliant adrenaline-fueled.
Stutterbox and WACK100 lived in the same gated community because Stutterbox is rich. He's also someone that has to watch how he moves around because he infamously did some telling against members of the Main Street Mafia Crips when he attempted to possibly blackmail Shaquille O'Neal for a so-called sex tape. And of course, that's a whole nother big story. And I'm not in front of the Peterson to get into that. And people have covered it, and I will. But so Stutterbox at this time already was rich. He had a called WACK100 CS2. Well, Stutterbox was CS1 for sure. Per the Biggie case, okay, one of the theories is that Amir Muhammad killed him. And they show you that photo or a sketch of the guy in the, dressed up like a Nation of Islam member in the bow tie. And so, and that's one of the main theories. He was driving a 96 Impala and he assassinated Biggie on behalf of who? That's unclear. That part of the story. Was it death row? Because they say Amir Muhammad was the high school roommate of David Mack. David Mack is one of the crooked cops that worked for Death Row. That was also part of the Rampart scandal. I did a video on him, several that have had million views. I had to delete some, but one is still up in my members only section. I put a link. And Amir Muhammad, aka Harry Billups, who changed his name to Amir Muhammad when he became Muslim, was the college roommate of David Mack. David Mack, after the whole Death Row thing started dying down, he got, well, not really dying down, in maybe 1997 or 8, actually, when after Tupac was killed in 96, Biggie killed in 97, so maybe late in 97, David Mack and his girlfriend worked at a bank and let him come in and rob it. They got $720,000. David Mack did a long federal prison term. David Mack got stabbed by the 18th Streeters and the feds. I came across that and I copped some prison guy doing a story about it. And David Mack is now out. The last we knew of David Mack, he was the driver for Harvey Weinstein's daughter. Interesting. So he's somewhere around in LA. I'd love to interview him. I doubt if he'd be interviewed. But anyways, Amir Muhammad, Harry Billups, went and visited David Mack 10 days after David Mack was arrested for bank robbery. Well, when you're in a moment of crisis, you might call out to have different friends come visit you. Doesn't mean Harry Billups doing anything illegal. Harry Billups, aka Amir Muhammad, now works as a real estate broker in Atlanta. He's been harassed by many documentaries and TV shows. I really don't think he had anything to do with it. But to get back to J Hood and Stutterbox, which is a whole big story of its own, Stutterbox versus Del Dog, Main Street Crips, Shaquille O'Neal extortion, Del Dog gets killed. Stutterbox was kidnapped, supposedly on the orders of Del Dog, one of the other leaders of the Main Street Mafia Crips.
So my father called the police and said somebody's trying to kidnap my niece. Whatever happened, happened. I don't know. I wasn't even around. I know what's going on. I'm just going off what my father told me. Nobody went to jail. My father was never, to my knowledge, never no confidential source. It was just a lot of snake stuff going on. Like my dad would pull up and then people call a dog, like, hey, box right here. Trying to get my father unalived. So he knocked on my dad's front door. My dad answered and shot my dad 6-7 times at his front doorstep. Another occasion. My dad is in his Rolls Royce. This is all prior to this. Somebody pull up and drop 30.
Grammarly now uses AI to help you write, not just revise. Type a prompt and
Inside the Rolls Royce, luckily it was bulletproof.
By 7 members snatched off Sunset Strip in West Hollywood, taken back in the hood, beaten. You know, where's this tape? You're trying to extort Shaquille O'Neal. That's our guy. Why are you doing this now? And Stutterbox calls his police handlers and told them what just happened. They say, go make a police report. This all ends up in the LA Times. It's on the front page. When it comes out, the Stutterbox has lied about various things, and he's a paid informant for LAPD. All the charges are dropped. So no one went to jail because of Stutterbox, but of course he's labeled a snitch. And even Jay Hood was talking about on his thing. Yeah.
Well, that's a lie. People did go to jail. The Crips were locked up for that case. And key word, what he's saying is that after Stutterbox was kidnapped, that he called his handlers, which means prior to the kidnapping, Stutterbox already was online with Darren Dupree. And I'll try to look for it real quick and grab the book where Darren Dupree advises Stutterbox to drive into the nearest police station and report being kidnapped, etc. And that is what he did. That's in the book, Unsolved or whatever it's called, right? Now, what a lot of people are failing to know is this. Darren Dupree and Greg Caden had a wiretap going on Robert Ross. Darren Dupree and Greg Caden heard Robert Ross, Stutterbox, we're going to call him Robert Ross, right? They heard Robert Ross bragging about how he had these police officers on the payroll. This is why they blew that up. This is why they sent Stutterbox to the pen and all of that, because that was evidence. That was evidence of what really was going on with Darren Dupree and Detective Greg Caden. They were on the tape. When you talk about Main Street Mafia and Mafia, yeah. And they hate Stutterbox for that. I'm talking about the pigs. Darren Dupree and Darren Dupree being on the joint task force that raided Bricc Baby house. Darren Dupree being on the Little Dirt task force that got him charged on the murder for hire indictment right now. He's the hip hop police. So this shit is really deep, but this is just one facet of it. But it's so many different rabbit holes. But who knows it better than Damu Kiwe Conversations.
Yeah, I don't agree with what my father done, but that's my father, and I love him. And if you talk, you try to bother him when I'm around, you're gonna be a loving memory, he said, which is pretty clever. But who might actually be Amir Muhammad, and I'm not saying this is true, but this is out of Greg Kading's book. And Greg Kading, you got to take with a grain of salt, but in this particular instance, he has evidence because he has the photo of his ID, Stutterbox, who would used to tell people he was Louis Farrakhan's son, but he was definitely in the Nation of Islam. And Stutterbox, I mean, does he?
Amir Muhammad. Box went by Amir Muhammad. Let's go.
He look like the guy in the drawing? Does Harry Billets look like the guy in the drawing? Stutterbox had an ID calling himself Amir Muhammad. Stutterbox is a serious criminal. Stutterbox moved in the circles, at least at one time, of heavy criminality. Stutterbox knew WACK100, who obviously knew Suge Knight. Now, I'm not saying WACK100 has something to do with the Biggie murder. That all happened before WACK100 was around. But I'm just saying it shows, you know, he's moving in those same kind of gang circles of older gang guys that are doing other serious crimes and making serious money. So Stutterbox had the alias name Amir Muhammad. He has his ID Amir Muhammad. If someone dressed up like a Nation of Islam member to gun down Biggie, perhaps it was this guy. Stutterbox has a flair for getting himself mixed up in big deal stuff. He had already hit a lick with the checks. He was trying to extort Shaq. He got himself on the front page of the LA Times for trying to turn people in for murder. Now, the whole Amir Muhammad, though, story has to be taken with the slight asterisk because, but mind you, an asterisk, it doesn't mean it's not true. If you followed this case and you watched any of the documentaries, you've heard of Psycho Mike. Psycho Mike is a police snitch. He started giving the police information from prison. He's the one who said he heard it was a Muslim name, and then Russell Poole looked at different names and then saw that a guy named Amir Muhammad visited David Mack, and then he showed Psycho Mike the sketch and said, "Oh, is this who you saw? Is this Amir Muhammad?" He said, "Yes." But could Psycho Mike have been moving in circles with people where he would have heard about hits and he would have heard the name Amir Muhammad and it was Stutterbox? Maybe. I will say this, though. Psycho Mike, and I'm going to put the full story here at the end. Psycho Mike, way he initially, that's why people and defense attorneys are able to pick apart snitches and informants so much, because they're often totally compromised. They lie, they're crazy people. Psycho Mike met the police by writing them a letter, maybe in the early 90s or something.
Hey, sweetie, you good?
Someone stole my Old Spice antiperspirant.
Purporting to have information about an unsolved crime that was of very high interest to the LA Sheriff's Department because it concerned the murder of an LA sheriff. In 1985, there was an LA sheriff getting off work, and he gets into it downtown at the jail. I guess he was a jail guard. He gets off, he gets into his van, and someone is in the van waiting, hiding, and pops out on him while they're driving on the freeway. They fight. He shotguns the LA sheriff, jumps out of the van and runs across the freeway, flees, gets away. This crime was unsolved for a long, long time. And Psycho Mike, before he was so-called snitching in the Biggie case, he wrote a letter to the LA sheriff saying that he knew who killed that sheriff, that it was the Black Gorilla family, which is a favorite target of, police claiming all these conspiracies. Black Gorilla family is going to take over the streets. He said the Black Guerrilla family did it as retaliation. So this led to further sanctions and police looking at the Black. You'll read about the Black Guerrilla family as attacking law enforcement on the outside. Now, I don't know if they have attacked any other law enforcement on the outside, but they didn't kill that sheriff because that case was solved a couple years ago. It, in fact, was a lover's quarrel. Another sheriff, another middle-aged white guy they were dating the same woman, and that guy hid in the van and killed him and got away. And a few years ago, the police were finally closing in on him, and that guy flung himself off a cliff, I think in Washington State. So the spokes of these cases contain all sorts of crazy people and other stories. And this is why conspiracy theories are so easy for a smart person to put together. Notice I say conspiracy theory, not the truth. Someone like Alex Jones or all these people that write conspiracy books, me, you give me a big pile of information, I can write you 8 different stories that all sound believable. It's like being on the debate team, right? We're going to each get the same set of facts, and we have to persuasively argue 2 different outcomes or correct answers. But yeah, I was driving fast to Peterson where Biggie lost his life here in this very busy area. This is the museum area. They just built the beautiful Academy of Museum of Motion Pictures. Across the street there. The LA County Museum of Art is nearby. Whoever did a hit around here, this is not the hood by a long shot, but LA is a big place. You can get away with stuff, blend into traffic. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. Stutterbox is a fascinating character of LA streets. Hit $11 million lick. He still rides around, I guess, in a Rolls. He still got money, lives in a gated community next to WACK100. He briefly got on the internet and went back and forth for WACK, but he stopped. He keeps a low profile. He had an ID that said Amir Muhammad, but is Amir Muhammad even real, or is that just a fiction of Psycho Mike? Because he told many fictions, but he did successfully snitch on a few cases over the years for the police. The Psycho Mike lost his life to an AK-47 blast standing outside the infamous Nickerson Gardens public housing project, which you'll hear people point to as, oh, see, as part of the conspiracy, they gunned him down because he was telling the truth. But anyone that's really from LA or been moving around in LA knows that unfortunately standing around the Nickerson Gardens public housing project too much, you might catch a bullet for any variety of reasons, and not because you told some secrets in public about the LAPD or the Tupac murder. But who knows? An interesting piece of LA history. American Dope, Hal Profit.
Book on dollar.com to get our lowest rates.
Why are you in my house? Right. So shout out to Al Prophet. Yeah, he did look shaggy, and like he went to go cop him a teener. How you say it, teener or tweener? A tweener or something. You know what I'm saying? He gets funky vibe. So and he on that meth for sure. Well, let's see what y'all talk about. Shahan, he look like he's sniffing glue. Zenny Valentine, you going in. That nigga nodding out. Oh, y'all said he off the meth, and then they said he off the black. Let me see. He looks sky high. Pigs get loaded. I got time today, De Niro Jones. Look like he just jumped out of bed. Where you from, Alley Apple Shaggy? Come on with them lights. Pootie slapped 100 Al Prophet, them different clothes. They own Al Prophet. Did he just say the Niggersons Gardens? What the fuck? I thought that's what he was saying. I swear I thought that's what he said, but then I heard him again and it didn't sound like that. But yeah, you got anything you want to say?
I hate you niggas.
Nah, bro, but on some real shit, bro. Nasty work, brother. Can you hear me, dudes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nasty work, brother. But I'm glad that Big U reached out, and he already know that, you know, we got his back, man. Regardless of whatever's going on, as long as the facts is true, we standing with you. And it's free Big U, man. Everything other than that, we just appreciate everybody tapping in. Appreciate everybody, you know, understanding that when you under attack, you want your brothers and sisters around. That's gonna stay down. You feel me? And that's what we're here to do. This is what the Damu Kiwe Conversations is built off of, and this is what we gonna do.
Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to get in. This was some good content. I think that y'all really didn't hit that like a lot, and I'm gonna be starting to pay more attention to that. You know, when y'all friends come in and y'all invite them over here, y'all make sure that they know the program, hit that like. You know what I'm saying? We take a lot of time out, you know what I'm saying, to put together this content, then to react to it, what parts were reacted to it, which leads us to other content and hours. So we're going to cut it short today with only 2 hours since I guess y'all don't appreciate what we do today. Not all of y'all. And I don't want to make this about those that don't appreciate us, because I'm appreciative of those of y'all who do appreciate it. Yeah, he too invested in the black man troubles. Yeah, that's kind of like an alarm, right? That's like a siren, right? Subo Tech started here for cops to do opinions with people they were entrapping, but so they didn't get the withdrawals. Yes, he is, Trevor. It's a lot of haters looking. Yeah, it is, but it ain't about them, Sagittarius Jones. It's about y'all, man. Trevor Kelly, De Niro Jones. I'm going to call y'all back. Renegade Duchess, Kid the Barber, Mike B, Medical Pathologist, Senior General Travis, Mo Hill, Tony Brown, Dominique Mayweather, G Mac, all of y'all, Zenny Valentine, Degante Cobbins, you know what I'm saying? Authentic 001. We really appreciate all of y'all that support. And it ain't about them. But when we come in, let's hit that like button, get this shit going. Y'all, tell them where they was at. Finna get up out of here, bro.
Salute to my brother, Dude Sam's. Hey, listen, y'all was on Club.